Give us a thumbs up, Prasanna, when you are ready.
So just a verse from the Sri Ganesh Pancharatnam. I thought we'll
Wonderful.
start with a Ganesh invocation to start the...
And we are going live. A very warm welcome. Today is 8th of April, and here we are, 70 carats. 70 carats is a beautiful celebration by some of these women sitting here who are part of the book 70 Carats. 70 Carats celebrates Indian women aged 70 to 95 years old, showcases memories woven on women from stories untold, highlights glittering memoirs, a tribute to priceless ladies, beautiful and bold, precious collage of heartwarming stories of women from different walks, pure gold. I invite foremost for Ganesh invocation, Shalini. Shalini, please come over.
Thank you so much. Jaya Ganesh, Gananath, Gajanana, Sakal Vigna Kar, Dur Hamari, Mama Vandan स्वीकार करो प्रभु चरण शरण हम आए तिहारे मुदा करात मोदकं सदा विमुक्ति साधकं कलाधरावतं सकं विलासी लोकरक्षकं अनायकैकनायकं विनाशिते दैत्यकं नताशुभाशुनाशकं नमामि तं विनायकं नमामि तं विनायकं न तेतरातिभीकरं नवोदितार्कभास्वरं न मत्सुरारिनिर्जरं न ताधिकापदुत्तरं सुरेश्वरं निधीश्वरं गजेश्वरं गणेश्वरं महेश्वरं तमाश्रये परात्परं निरन्तरं परात्परं निरन्तरं परात्परं निरन्तरं जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां जय गणेश रक्ष मां जय गणेश रक्ष मां.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Shalini. Beautifully sung, and what beautiful lines, and what a beautiful way to start our session today. A very warm welcome to each one of you wonderful authors. And will you please hold up our book, 70 Carats? All of you.
Sorry, I don't know where mine is, I think.
If you can hold up your book, the 70 Carats, with you.
It's not with me, sorry.
Okay, those who have, please do.
Yeah.
So this is the 70 Carats we are talking about. Oscar Wilde said, "We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars." And today I, Rupa Rao, I'm in awe of the stars I'm staring at and am blinded by. Thank you so much to each one of you authors who contributed to 70 Carats, and you are present here. I will start with inviting Aruna. Aruna Kidambi is a committed educator, author, conservationist, and community worker who supports rural and organic enterprises. She graduated from the prestigious Mount Carmel College, Bangalore. She holds a degree in journalism and a bachelor's degree in education. Interested in theatre and classical music, Aruna is widely traveled and is a passionate upholder of human rights. She lives in Bangalore, where she has taught for many, many years. Aruna, a very warm welcome. Do tell us, what did you write about and what made you write about this particular person?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. In fact, hadn't it been for Roopali, who prodded and poked and threatened and all that, I wouldn't have written, because I've become, though I love writing, I love reading, I haven't written for a long time, mainly because of laziness, nothing else. So if the single reason why I did write was, Roopali was very persuasive. And secondly, I thought her idea was a good one about many of us in our 70s writing about maybe the independence of that time that many of us were born, post-independence to be exact, and our experiences. And I chose to write in a slightly different manner to what she had actually suggested. It is really in the first person, and in, I think it's the first person, or about this little girl who grows up in Bangalore and leads a very privileged life. But I think through the story, I did try and describe that two things. One was, whatever background you came from, there were certain features common, at least in the communities in which I was part of, or I grew up in Bangalore, was the simplicity of it. You know, wherever you came from, you followed certain traditions, and you know, there was no flamboyance at that time, whether you were rich or poor or whatever. And very traditional homes. Many of us came from very traditional homes, liberal, but very traditional also. So that's what I tried to point out, and how at that time, many of us, our parents, my mother in particular, I've talked about her a great deal. And since I went into teaching by accident, I used to tell my students, ask my students, what would have happened if they'd been sent to a vernacular school instead of an English medium school, a convent school, as it was called. Our lives would have taken a very, very different turn. You know, we would, without the knowledge of English, or with the limited knowledge of English. And so my mother took a very big step, persuading my grandfather, who was quite a colonial gentleman, but was against me going to a convent school. For one thing, he was afraid of conversions. They always were, even today, people are. And the fact that the rest of his two other daughters passed out of a school close by at 14 or something. And by the time they were 16, they had finished their BA and, of course, ready for marriage. You were readied only for marriage, as we all know, your grandmothers and people in the family. So that's what he wanted for me. So I think it took quite a lot of gentle persuasion for me to go into a convent school. And from there, and it was a Catholic, I mean, you know, the works, there were the Catholic nuns, there were the Catholic order from England. And from there, where else would I go but to Mount Carmel, another Catholic order, because there weren't many colleges in Bangalore at that time, which took in girls. And I had to go into the dorm, the hostel for 1.5 years because my father was posted out. So, I wouldn't say shaped, but to a certain extent exposed to Christian ideology, ways of teaching, which I really loved in many ways, particularly my school. Less my college, I must confess, but very much my school, because those nuns really taught us a lot of things. And one of the things, if I may just conclude by saying, one of the things that I keep hearing about now is how people don't enjoy solitude and don't enjoy silence. I mean, now, because we're all so caught up in the noise of urban settings and urban, growing up. The nuns in that convent of the Sacred Heart, as it was called then, did just that. The whole atmosphere lent itself to a beautiful silence, I would say. And wherever we went, we were encouraged to be silent. And then, of course, nuns being nuns, they use their imagination that, if you're silent, then you are offering it like a prayer to XYZ who had some illness and it'll make her better. So you felt, a sense of guilt if you did talk. One way or the other, I really, and their places of worship, like the little chapel, was such a contrast to our loud and clanging temples and so on and so forth. So the very beautiful things, more than anything else, learning how to write. So since there's less and less of writing and more of clicking these days. So a lot of in the growing up years, and that's what I wrote about.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So you are an accidental teacher who's shaping and molding students and individuals who believes that silence is what is something missing in this noisy setting in today's world.
Yeah.
What would you suggest in the urbanization where everyone is trying to turn towards urban living? How could people with their rat race of jobs and family and social media, how can they silence themselves, you think?
No, I think they have to have conversations about it, within the family. I definitely feel that the educational institution, the school, and later on colleges and the home contribute largely to a lot of what goes to shape us. It comes back to us. So whether you believe in whatever those little things that happen when you're growing up, in schools and in homes really shape you. And if you have that, in many of our homes, you had older people, even your parents, spending that morning time in prayer. You could hear them, or it could be a silent prayer, meditation. All this we did see. And I'm not saying that one has to aspire only for that, but I'm saying that encourages you to introspect and be within yourself and not be afraid of silence.
I love what you are saying, Aruna, because of course teachers shape the students. However, a lot is picked up by osmosis when we watch our parents and neighbors and friends and others around us. And I do believe what you said is true, that we all need that moment of introspection and silence amidst the noise we are living in.
Yeah, I think it's if you could possibly manage it, it's very beautiful, because it's silent. It's sort of, what's the word I was looking for? It calms you down. And you're able to not be scared of being later on, when you're older, the aloneness. You're not afraid of being alone because you've already experienced that inner calm and quiet. I'm sorry, I've talked a lot.
You have spoken beautifully, Aruna, and you've explained very beautifully the importance of solitude and silence, which doesn't mean we all need to go silent, because our writings are voices which are being heard, and I'm sure whoever reads your story understands the importance of it. Roopali, do you want to say something before I invite Shyamala next?
Go ahead, because Shyamala has to catch a flight.
Yeah, our Shyamala Khanna, who started badminton a few years back and is winning medals left, right, center, is going to be flying tomorrow again for another event. is a teacher and a trainer of soft skills. She has published 4 books: The Lahore Connection, a collection of short stories about women; The Cow in Kargil, stories of the Indian Air Force; From Mukherjee to Malhotra. I guess she's talking about someone like herself. And Where the Boys Are, someone waits to be heard. A recent entrant into the Masters Games badminton, she has won a couple of medals and won a medal recently in Pune. She dabbles in art and confesses to her favorite being watercolors. I invite you, Shamala, and we want to hear about what you have written about, who you have written about, and why this particular person.
Well, I have written about my favorite person, my father.
Mm-hmm.
I idolize him now that he's no more. And I realized what a wonderful father. All around us, we saw so much of repression of women.
Mm-hmm.
He firmly believed we are 8 sisters
Mm-hmm.
and 2 brothers. And my school friends used to laugh and tell me, "Oh my God, you got 8 sisters. And what happened to your mother and your father? You must be getting scolded. You must be, all the things that were happening with the other girls." Growing up in a place like Meerut, my father insisted that we all should play games. My elder sisters were part of the youth festivals, going to college, to a co-ed college, and they used to perform on stage. And my elder sister, one of my older sisters, she was 16 years old when she first went to Sri Lanka, then known as Ceylon.
Mm-hmm.
She went there to play basketball. Now, it was kind of unheard of, but yes, only the Banerjee sisters could do that. And it was all thanks to my father's very, very liberal, generous upbringing. I mean, the way he brought us all up. My mother was that steady, calm influence, always in the background, but very firm. You did the right things. No taking chances, right? So, and there was this thing about, you got all your fancy new clothes during Durga Puja. And you dare not ask for others in between, through the year. No way. No way. পুজোর সময় হবে তাই যথেষ্ট. That's it. And we had a tailor master who would come home. Can you imagine that old Muslim tailor? He sits in the yard and he takes measurements for all 6 of us. Elder ones are already married by then. We are all lined up. One big thon of cloth would come, and all of us would be getting identical frocks made. And then we would be posing for photographs and stuff like that. But through it all, I look back and see that his idea of women's emancipation was so strong, so generous. He was a criminal lawyer by his practice, and he was very well known. That as far as his daughters were concerned, they got the best of education. Some of my older sisters tried for the administrative services. I tried for medicine. But ultimately, we all ended up being teachers. And my father wanted me to do a B.Ed and an M.Ed. I did a B.Ed, but he wanted me to do a post-graduation. And I quietly went to the education college and I told the professor, I said, "Sir, I want to do my B.Ed." He rang up my father because we were on the Bengali network. And he says, "Your daughter is here to do her B.Ed. Is it okay if I take her on?" He said, "Yeah, go ahead." And then next thing I knew, after that 1 year, my old school invited me to join. I said, "Okay, I'm swinging. I wanted to work. I wanted to be a teacher." And then, of course, the romance stepped in. That's a different story altogether. But I have to tell you how my father dealt with my then friend stroke fiance. He came from a Punjabi family that were emigres from Lahore. Post-partition, they had come to Hyderabad, and his sister and brother-in-law they were a really, the whole, all the groups of people were involved in that family. We had a Kannadiga, we had Punjabis, we had Sindhis, the whole lot. And this gentleman and his wife, they came and they spoke to my parents. And my mother was not at all impressed. How can you marry a Punjabi? Out of question. And he's not even a Brahmin. All these things were going around in the family. But my father, the way he spoke to Mahinda, that's the man I married, there they were, the two of them walking. My father spoke best when he was walking. Typical lawyer stance. He was walking on one side of the center table and my fiance walking on the other. And he quietly but very firmly, my minder told him, sir, we want to get married with your blessings. My father was impressed by the fact that this young man smartly turned up and with a pilot in the Air Force. He had time for the army because he was doing a lot of court martials and all. He was involved in that. So he had a lot of respect. And he had a lot of respect for the young man who had come to talk to him and put his ideas forth. And we did get married. We had a few funny moments because his mother insisted that he should wear a suit and go on a horse. And I had told him that he has to wear a dhoti and he has to wear a topor, that is that dancer's cap. Everybody calls it a dancer's cap. He had to wear that. And then these boys, the Scotland boys, were all there en masse, and they wouldn't stop ribbing him because of his hairy legs showing through the dhoti. So all of that has gone into this particular story. Fun and games and happiness, because I think of my father as one of the kindest fathers one could have had. I wouldn't have exchanged him for anything else. He was very firm. Where I wanted to go off and go to some party at the, somewhere in someone's house, and he said, no way. And then I used to tell my friend, my father is so bad. He does this and he doesn't let me have a party and things like that. So I think all girls go through those kind of things. But in hindsight, I think he was one of the most wonderful people to have had in my life.
What
He was
a lovely, beautiful share. Shyamala, if you were not a teacher, what would you be, you think?
maybe something to do with psychology.
Not
Something to do.
sports, not winning medals for the country?
That just came around as just as a pastime. Actually, I wouldn't have been a great sports person. I know, because physically maybe I just don't have it in me. Like my grandson's asking me, he says, Dad says that you never won any prizes in your younger days. And now you're winning prizes. How did that happen? I said, yes, that happens. That happens because there are no other women playing in my age group. So it's lucky for me. But yes, it's been good fun.
It
I
sounds so lovely that you had a father who was so progressive then, and your mother who, with a firm hand, made sure all the daughters landed on their feet well.
Yeah.
And no matter what your dreams were, someone divine had grander dreams for all of you, and you ended up teachers.
Yes, most of us did. 5 or 6 of us sisters. We all ended up as teachers. In fact, I am still teaching. I teach the soldiers at the Ordnance Corps.
Right.
My sister in Kolkata, she's teaching. My sister who was in Windsor, she's no more. She was a badminton coach in Windsor.
Wow.
So I guess, sports and education, part of our systems.
Thank you
Thank
so much for doing what you do and for sculpting youngsters as a teacher. And thank you for sharing your beautiful story with all of us today.
Thank you so much, Rupa, for having me here. And I've loved interacting with all of you. Wonderful people. Just keep writing and keep smiling. I think that works for all of us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
You
so much.
too. And bring back more medals tomorrow.
Yes. Rupa, one of the things that really impresses me about Shyamala is not that
Uh-huh.
she was a teacher, because those were the professions that were, nursing, teaching, and so on. Is that
Mhm.
till even now? I mean, she's an international badminton player. She wins,
Yep.
and I mean, that's what's remarkable about 70 Carats. Is that
Absolutely. It's such a
women who are
wonderful.
here, the women who are here are still doing things, you know?
Yeah.
Commendable.
And thank you, Rupali and Prasanna, for pulling us out of the, lazy stack and getting us to write once again. That collection of poems was another one, which the cityscapes was very interesting. I had forgotten that I could write poetry, huh?
So we will have another session. Rupali will make sure that all the poets in this group will get together and we will have you render your poetry. How's that?
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Rupa, before we go forward, I'd like to introduce my very dear friend and co-editor, Pushpa Ramakrishna,
Oh,
without
she's
whom,
here.
yeah,
Wonderful.
she's
Nice to
here.
meet
She's from
you.
Hyderabad. And well, I think she just took pity on me and decided to, help me out, because, I would just keep asking my friends and they would say, why do you want us to write? What is the purpose? So I
Uh-huh.
thought I'd just read out the dedication in this book. It says that this is the objective and the purpose of this book, is dedicated to the parents, grandparents, and guardians, to the foster parents and step parents, to the honorary parents of the extraordinary women whose stories lie amongst its pages, a testament to their unwavering support, enduring love, and unwavering belief in the limitless potential of their daughters. Their guidance, sacrifices, and encouragement have illuminated our paths, empowering us to defy norms, pursue education, and shape our destinies with courage and conviction. They laid the foundation upon which we built lives of resilience, purpose, and inspiration. Their legacy lives on in every page of this book, honoring the profound impact of parental guidance on the journey of empowerment and transformation. So, this is the purpose of this book. So, all of you who didn't write for it, you know why I wanted this book. And thank you so much for all of you who did write. Even if I had to, Pushpa will tell you how much of badgering I did. And I'm known as, and my daughter calls me Dhakka Mata because I keep pushing.
Yeah.
But
Dhakka
it's
Mata needed a Pushpa here. Pushpa, welcome. Nice to meet you. We haven't met before. It's so wonderful to meet you. And Rupali, thank you for sharing these beautiful words that this 70 carats are. Once again, I request each one of you who has a book by you to hold it up and show us
yeah,
how 70 carats cover looks.
that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. It's a gorgeous painting.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous. It's a gorgeous painting.
This is
Right.
done by my grandson.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks
Very
to
good.
Aaryan.
Yes, Aaryan.
Right.
Aaryan does.
Aaryan, wherever you are, thank you for sharing such a beautiful cover, and we all are enjoying it. And moving on, I invite Sadbir Chadda. She is the author of the highly acclaimed book, For God Loves Foolish People. I guess I'm very loved then, right, Sadbir? Most loved, for which she was awarded the Royal International Prize. Her second novel is Betrayed, Tale of a Rogue Surgeon, a medical thriller. She's been published in over 40 national, international anthologies, including Q. And it was published by PHCC Philippines. Vibrant Voices by Sahitya Academy, Delhi, containing poetry and short stories. She has 4 solo poetry collections to her credit: Breeze, Glass Doors, The Last Lamp, and the latest, I Want to Go to Haldwani and Other Poems. Her latest book is the novel Hills and Lakes, published last month. She was awarded the Litpreneur Award by Author Press for her contribution to literature. She is also the founder of the Nissim International Prize for Literature, awarded every year to upcoming writers of English prose and poetry. She lives in Delhi with her sons and grandchildren. Sadbir, a very warm welcome and over to you. Do tell us what made you write and be a part of this journey, 70 Carats, and what did you write about and why? Over to you.
Thank you very much, Rupa. I've been enjoying everybody else's journey and got lost in all those conversations, really. And so you called my name, I was surprised, okay. Even I'm talking. So I really have a lot of stories, a lot of experiences in my life. Beside me, other women who would be totally inspirational and marvelous, let's say, role models to a lot of people. And there was this special woman who was, selling vegetables, but just those spicy vegetables like chutney, jisko we call chutney masala. And then I wrote about her story because it always inspired me. See, 50 years from now, maybe 45 years back, it was a big deal. Today, probably it won't be such a big deal, but then it was a big deal to have someone go through all that and do it so well. And she was a widow. So I really wrote that, and Roopali liked it, but she said, "No, I want another one from you." So then the other one was, I think, about my own publishing journey, right, Roopali? I didn't get the book. I'm getting it tomorrow. So I think it's about my own journey, how I ventured into writing. So those are the two episodes I've written about.
Wonderful. And tell me, Sabir, if you were not writing, what would you be doing?
I'd be doing business as I've been doing always. I deliberately stopped taking interest in business because my sons were grown up and they were helping their father, and I said, okay, let me do better things. Reading has always been a passion. I thought I would travel and, spend my time in doing a better things. But writing happened. Writing happened when I was about 60, somewhere in 2012, 2013. I started writing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just going on writing.
Yeah, and you haven't looked back ever since.
I do look back, and if need be, I go back and help in the business for a bit, whatever is needed. But the boys they're grown and they're competent enough. I take care of all my other responsibilities. It's not that I've given it all up. I'm right there. I
That's
take care.
wonderful, Sadbir.
Yeah.
And what would you say to youngsters who want to get into this journey of writing in addition to whatever else they are doing in life?
See, writing and reading is like, breathing and eating food. You do whatever you like, but you keep breathing and you keep eating. As you get the chance, water is available to you. So there were times when, I get nothing to read except a medicine prescription or even the booklet inside a medicine box. I read that booklet 100 times just for the sake of reading. कि read तो करना है.
Acha.
That was a sort of addiction to reading from my childhood.
So that is the secret, addiction to reading.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing because
It is
I read,
definitely a good thing. It cannot be a bad thing, I'm
I
sure.
read even when I'm eating, so whatever. I would be reading when would be feeding my babies. The book would be here.
Yeah, so by osmosis, they would have learned, they would have picked up the habit of reading, I'm sure.
Yes, yes, they all read. They're all creative and productive in their own ways. And one of my sons is a rock star. He's famous all over the world. He has his own rock bands.
Mhm.
He's a
That's
filmmaker too.
wonderful. Thank you
The
so
other
much,
two sons also
Sadhbir, for
sing, they write. Yeah.
uh-huh. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful story, and a pleasure hearing from you. And thank you for making time and joining us today.
No, I'm enjoying this so much. I'm going to be here.
Please, please stay here. We want each one of you to stay here when others are
Because I'm
talking.
enjoying everybody, every journey is like a miracle when you look at
Indeed.
it.
Dear friends, I really want to tell you about Sadhbir ji. How did I know her or meet her? It was very interesting.
Mhm.
We were bringing out this book during just lockdown, my husband and I. We decided that we would get, military people to write because they're very creative. They write, and but we don't see much published. So while we were gathering poems and so on, I came across a poem on Facebook, and
Mhm.
it was so incredible, that poem. It was about a village, and a soldier, martyred soldier. His when somebody dies in the army, then his unit or his regiment sends his personal belongings to the village, and his trunk is taken off and kept outside the truck. Then his uniform, and the way she had written about it, it was so touching. So I somehow searched her out, and I said, I have to have this poem, and then this poem was published, and you'd be very happy to know that the chief guest, General V.K. Singh, who was our chief of the army, and then he was also minister in the government. He mentioned, I'd given him the book to read before he, made his presentation. So he'd taken it a week before, and he he mentioned her poem. So you can imagine the kind of impact that poem had actually made to us who had never met Sadhbiji. And of course, she's another interesting thing that I just add before we move on is that while mothers encourage their children to write, it is her son who encouraged her to write. And it is his prompting and his encouragement and she's now very well known for it. And she keeps this wonderful home where any time that you're in Delhi, you just walk into her home, have lunch with her, listen to her, read poems to her, and she's so gentle and so calm. Thank you so much, Satwiji.
The best thing you said was, come and read your poems to me. Whenever somebody drops in, I say, "Pehle poetry sunao." So, welcome all of you. I wish you could all come someday. And just remember, I'm in GK Greater Class Part 1 in Delhi. Thank you, everybody. I'm feeling like I'm talking to old friends, not people I met just today. Meher, I've been watching a lot on Facebook. I thought it would be nice meeting her today. And all of you, I've seen a bit on Facebook, but yes, it's good to we'll gradually get to know each other better. Thank you all
So
so
true.
much, dear friends. God bless you all.
Thank you so much,
You
Sadhbir
too.
ji. And as Rupali correctly pointed out, whatever you write actually stirs the soul, touches the heart, and brings tears sometimes or a smile, and makes each one of us think. So thank you, Sadhbir ji, for all that you do, write, speak, say, and share with us.
Thank you
And
so
I
much
Bye.
for all
think
the
that
nice things you say.
I really enjoyed Satbir's story on the vegetable vendor. It was so
Yes, that was a
touching and so moving.
beautiful, it was an episode. I really admired that woman, and very good. I'm glad you liked it. Thank you so much.
Moving on, I invite Dr. Sunil Kaushal. As sizzling hot as she was when she was young, and in fact, her black and white picture was on Facebook just a day back, and I say you look no different today from when you were that many years back. You, Dr. Sunil Kaushal, are a gynecologist, poet, author, translator, essayist, editor, and you've been translated into French, German, Greek, Punjabi, and Chinese. Twice awarded Memoir, Gypsy Wanderings and Random Reflections, won the Nissim Nonfiction Prose Award given by the Significant League 2020 and the Golden Book Award by Wings Publication 2024. And you are a winner of multiple awards, some of which include Women Achievers Award 2019, Enchanting Muse, and Fellow of the Regal World of Scribes. You're featured in Limca Book of Records, you're featured in Golden Book of Records, you're a gold medalist in dramatics, and the Best Lioness President Asia Award. I invite the Lioness, Dr. Sunil Kaushal. Over to you.
Thank you so much for this, overwhelming introduction. And when you were narrating all these qualities, I was wondering who you were talking about, because I have never really been able to accept the fact that being a medico, I could be doing anything on the literary front, because frankly, I never studied English literature. We were too busy studying the human body. And I didn't even have time to read any poetry. I know nothing about poetry, the techniques and all that. I just don't know. I just write from the heart. And this is what I have done in this book also. And
who did you write on and what did you write about?
When Roopali invited me to write for this book, I had already started part 2, a few chapters of my memoir, Gypsy Wanderings. Incidentally, I have it. A friend was here and I was showing it to her. This is my memoir, Gypsy Wanderings and Random Reflections. Wonderful. And I was, I had started writing the second part too. And when Roopali gave me the subject that you got to write about yourself, and I was actually overwhelmed. And I feel very honored to be amongst all these outstanding literary figures, all these outstanding women. They are such big achievers, all of them, in their own fields. And I found it very interesting listening to all of them, their journeys. I only knew Satbir amongst all of them before this, but learning about the life of all the other friends has been very interesting, very nice to get to know them also. So what I have written in this book has been about a very eventful life. I'm 80 plus now. And you can imagine what I must have lived through, everything. And it's been successes, it's been failures. And when I really ponder about it, I haven't really sat down and thought. I'm so busy living, I don't sit down and think about the past. I feel there is no time to sit down and brood and think and regret and all that. No, that's just not my cup of tea. I must go on and on and on, full steam. And when I think about it, I did have many more failures than successes. And that's what made me very strong, actually. I'm told I'm a very strong woman. I've been through everything. I've been up there and I've hit rock bottom. And when you hit rock bottom, there's no other way to go except come up, because you can't go any lower than that. And I learned a lot from those failures. And I feel it's very, very important for everybody to face rejection or to fail in certain ways and to be able to take it as an opportunity to improve yourself.
What is the one thing you did when you had multiple failures to traverse through that journey of the lows and the losses and the rejections?
My biggest failure was getting into medical college. People think it's a very big, prestigious thing to be able to clear you. We didn't have any pre-med exams and all. We just walked into medical college. You would be surprised, I had 67% and I was one of the toppers. And I just walked into medical college. But in contrast to what people's attitude is about being a doctor, it is a very big privilege to get a seat in medical college. I did not realize that at 17, I don't know myself. I didn't know there was a sort of an artist inside me. But as soon as I was in that atmosphere, I started withering. I just wasn't myself. It was too morbid. It was too dry. Our teachers were sadistic. I hate to talk about it, even today. They were not really, they're not kind to the students. They don't teach. They don't treat us like 17-year-olds. We are little kids when we go there. Now that when I look at my grandchildren and other children around, I wonder how we coped up. So I had a big ID crisis. I had a big identity crisis coming from a place like IT College, Lucknow, into Amritsar Medical College was a big identity crisis. But as soon as I started going for youth festivals and winning competitions, declamations and debates and drama, I was alive. I was totally alive. And that was the challenge, where I learned to balance the scholarly aspect of my brain and the artistic brain. I don't know if there's a difference in my right-left brains, but I tried to juggle that. I tried to juggle and do both things, and I managed.
So if Sunil was not a medical doctor, what would she be?
I'd be an actress, theater or films. I don't know about films, but theater is a passion for me. I'd be performing something, like dancing or singing or other arts even. I do a lot of, theater even now. I do it. I've done it on TV also. I've done short films on TV earlier. And in medical college, I was a gold medalist for 5 years. As the best actress. And even now, in fact, today I missed a very nice play which I was scheduled to go and watch with my book club. But then my children came over and I wasn't going anywhere. And besides, I wanted to be here. So
wonderful. We love that you made time and you're with us today. And if there was one life lesson you would want to share with the rest of the world, what would you say is one thing that would hold everyone in good stead through the toughest of times?
I would want the youngsters actually to learn to be more human than they are today. They've turned into machines. They're just technical machines. Everything is online. Everything, even their relationships are online. They have no time for family. I wish more people would get together, sit together, eat together, talk. Let there be a family life. When I remember my childhood, I think all we knew was being at home. And we loved it. There weren't any parties for young children except birthday parties, which were in the evening, and they were at home. There was no fancy stuff, those days. And
True.
And
Very well said.
I love talking about my childhood because it was so simple. We were so innocent. We were not touched by the world. We had protected lives as well as being satisfied with what we had. We had no aspirations. Ye brand kharidna, wo brand kharidna. And I'm always pulling up my grandchildren. I said, what rubbish. Buy what suits you or what you enjoy using or wearing. Don't go after brands and then tuck it into your wardrobes and never look at it again.
Thank you so much, Sunil, for those pearls of wisdom.
I will barge in for a little quip about this lady, I think she will be the only child who, at the age of 2 or 2.5, decided that she wants to go to school. And she went to a few schools around the place where she was living, decided which one she wanted to join, and came and took her parents, come on now, admit me to that school.
Aww.
How many kids would you find like this?
Absolutely.
Sunil
What
is
a lovely,
something,
cute
you can't
story.
believe she was born an incredulous person.
So
that's why I love her so much,
Oh my God, this is
you are
beautiful.
I just had to barge in and share this.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. And thank
She's,
you so much,
she's
Dr.
very
Sunil.
generous to me. She's very generous to me.
You are a delight, and I'm sure you have so many stories to tell. In fact, maybe there could be one book just saying failures, my failures, and the lessons from those. Maybe that's the next book we will read from you.
I think that's a very nice suggestion. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That gives me another theme for a book.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sunil, and have fun with your family, but stay with us so you may hear the stories of other ladies here who have contributed to the book. And thank you once again.
Thank you so much.
Rupa, sorry to interrupt. I have another call coming through. I'll have to leave.
All
Another
right,
from
Aruna,
from
thank
my
you so much
family.
for sharing your
Not
story.
at
And
all.
if
I'm
this
sorry I
story
can't
again,
stay
please do
longer.
come back.
I will. Thank you. Thank you. I don't even
Thank you,
know how to
Aruna.
switch this off. Okay.
Rupa, I'll stay on for one more speaker, but I'll have to leave. My family's been waiting. We have to go out for dinner.
We understand. Yes,
We
some
have to
of you
take
have
out some family
limitations.
friends.
As long as you can stay, we would love for you to stay. And otherwise, we understand each one has constraints, limitations, and deadlines. So thank you once again.
Thank
I
you.
would like to invite my dear friend, Shalini, who is multi-talented. She has a diploma in acting from New York Academy of Theatrical Arts and has acted in a number of plays. You heard her right at the beginning of the event where she sang and invoked Ganesha. She studied English literature and philosophy and has a degree in business management. She's a gifted singer. Well, you tasted the pudding, you know how it tastes. And she has a music album of bhajan called Arpanam. Painting is another passion of hers. She enjoys writing poetry in English and Hindi. Her poems have been widely published in literary journals, various magazines, and a number of anthologies in English and Hindi. Her poems are exquisite, full of beautiful imagery, deeply philosophical, profound, evocative. She is a Reiki master. And Shalini was here in the US with her children for a few months. I had the privilege of interacting with her a couple of times. And the little time I've spent with her, and I've stalked her on Facebook and social media, she's a wonderful, warm, loving, caring, spiritual human being. And it's my privilege and pride to invite Shalini. Over to you, Shalini. Tell us, why did you write about who you wrote about? I know it. I want to hear it from you. And do hold up your 70 carats if you have it with you.
Yes, very much so. A book which is very precious to me. And first of all, Rupa, thank you so, so much for that most overwhelming introduction and for all wonderfully kind words, which I feel that doesn't really belong to me. And I think it sounds so wonderful to hear it, but I think I'm none of all of this. I just dabble in wherever the heart leads me, sometimes to write, sometimes to sing, sometimes to paint. But that's just about it. And I'm so deeply honored to be here with all the wonderful, esteemed writers and the wonderful people. And I feel I'm so blessed today to meet, so many friends who have been on Facebook, but I have not interacted with them. And it's just simply wonderful. And thank you to Roopali for goading me on to write, because I don't think I would have ever written anything. As somebody else was saying that, yeah, I'm a lazy writer. So I think when I get pushed, I come up with something or the other. And what should I say? When Roopali asked me to write about myself, and I thought about it, and I felt that what is there that I can write about myself? My journey is, of course, everyone's journey is unique, but my journey is all right, very kind of uneventful, very ordinary, and nothing really inspirational about it. But well, Roopali insisted to, so I did write about myself. what little I could. And more so, my writing about, what is most precious to me is that I wrote about my mother. So my story, writing about my mother, is a sort of a tribute. It's sort of I felt the day I completed that memoir that this has been my very humble, Shraddhanjali to her. So that is what, and I felt her life for me has been an inspiration. And I wrote with the hope that we all have to bear crosses in this journey of life. And when we go on, we meet obstacles, else we wouldn't have been born. But everything is a stepping stone to evolving, to progressing, to achieving, what the purpose of life actually is. So my actually journey of my mother started, like for us, she was a mother, and not more than that, like she was the best mother one could have had, the most talented, yes. She was a very acclaimed writer of her times. But, we knew she just wrote, and that's about all. So my journey started when 3 years back, the Aaryan group in Patna invited us to, because they were going to facilitate her. And I was sitting there that afternoon listening to all the very well-known writers in Hindi and all the Sahityik intelligentsia over there. And I'm listening to them, and I said, that was my mother, whom I felt that I knew so little about her literary journey as such. Yes, I read her writings, and I know that she was always invited and very well compared to a lot of very eminent writers. But for me, it was when I was asked to come and speak about my mother, and I was so absolutely blank. What should I say about my mother? And that was the beginning. And the thing is that she wrote in Hindi. And the thing is that I could not speak 10 sentences without adding 5 sentences in English. And that was a wake-up call. I said, oh my God, this is terrible. And that was my first kind of, introduction to really her work. And one of the persons who had, the chairperson, Mrs. Khan, was actually a Padma Shri, and she was the one who actually asked me to, write about her, to, she wanted to republish her poems. And that's where it started. And I started actually typing out her poems. And you'll not believe the paper was so parched. It was actually, a difficult task. I was putting 3, 4, as I opened the pages, it crumbled. So I was putting 4 or 5 pages together and then somehow typed all her poems. And and I think through her poetry, I realized her life was so inspirational, and she was so ahead of her times. I think what she wrote in those days was, and is as relevant today as it was in her days. So she was born in 1926 on the 14th of November. So I think she always said, my father, who was a very, very progressive person, again, way ahead of his times, and she was entirely his creation. She would say that he used to lock her up into the room and he used to tell her that she must write and not come out until she's written something. Then from there, she blossomed into her writing. She completed, I think she was 17 when she got married, and my father was 20. And I think her journey from there was, then 7 children and she was born into a highly progressive family. He was talking about badminton. I think, her mother, that is my nani, was a badminton player in her days. So you can imagine the days when women were literally in the house and they were not allowed to really go out on their own. So she was that kind of a disciplinarian, waking up at 4 in the morning, a morning walk, and yoga a must for her children. So from that kind of a family, she went into a very traditional, a family steeped in tradition, superstitions, and things like that. But from there, she blossomed into the writer she was. But unfortunately, my father passed away very young. So she was given, she was an MA in psychology. Again, my father encouraged her to complete all her studies. And we too grew up in that atmosphere where academics was of absolute importance, and that, in her days also, that you must stand onto your own 2 feet. So her journey began basically after he passed away. She, got a job as a lecturer teaching psychology. And she was a very shy, introverted person, and having lost her father also at a very young age of 13 and living with relatives and things like that. So, but of course, she was so sensitive. And, from there, the sensibility and the sensitivity to write, I think, blossomed from that time onwards. And it was a journey of, looking up, getting children married off, looking after them. So a story of absolute inspiration from that shy, introverted person, to be able to be at the helm of affairs, bring up a family, marry them off. I have 6 sisters and a brother. So she basically brought up all of us, married most of, I think only 2 of us were married when my father passed away. So all her journey began then. And then, of course, blossomed into a writer of great repute. And I think what she would write, the imagery and things like that, is just absolutely relevant today, deeply introspective, very philosophical, a search for identity. And she had a very modernistic approach to her writing, absolutely relevant even today. So that was.
Shalini, I love the fact that you're putting together all her works, her papers parched and crumbling, still you managed to put them all together and you're compiling a book and you're coming out with a book where all her works will be there. So congratulations on a wonderful undertaking, and I hope whenever you're ready, Roopali and I would love you to come here and we all will talk about that book by your mother, or your mother's works put together, compiled by you.
Thank you so much, Rupa. Actually, that would be one of the greatest honors. And I feel that this journey of writing her book has been a journey of getting to know her and know more of her times. And it's really how much that I knew her, how little. And, her thought processes, her philosophy, all of that, she actually, to tell you the truth, is that, her persona just came alive as I was translating. So yes, I have a lot of her writings are lost. I tried to go into Doordarshan, where, All India Radio, where her stories would be telecast every Sunday, and she would read them or someone else would read them. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to get a lot of it out. But I have a few stories and of her short stories and her novel, maybe one novel of hers. And this book of poetry is her poetry collection called Samanantar Sune, is which I have been translating and not translating, rather, it's now really in print. It should be, I think, another couple of weeks, and I think the book should be ready. So it's that book is completely a dedication to me, and I thought that she was within me all the 7-8 months that I was kind of walking on it. And in any case, it is her blessing, I think, that the book has come into reality as such.
Your mother's with you and rejoicing the fact that you've put her works together and others also will be reading. And the fact that every moment you spend putting it together over 8 months or 9 months, you had a rebirth and you reconnected with your mother. How beautiful is that?
How beautifully put, Rupa. Indeed, it was. She lived through me. And I hope that someday, I know that I don't even write a fraction of what she would write. She was extremely gifted. But I hope that her story, somewhere or the other, will continue, in me. I feel that. I feel that she speaks through me. And I never would write in Hindi, but I started writing in Hindi. And
Now you do, and
I
that's the
have
blessing
around
of your
50
mother.
poems. I know that is my greatest joy, because writing in English was always there since I was a teenager. But to
Thank
write
you so
Hindi,
much, Shalini, for everything you've shared, especially about your mother. And we do not doubt that she is so proud of you and looking down right now and smiling and maybe clapping for you and saying thank you to you. So thank you from
Rupa.
all of
Thank
us,
you
and thank
so
you for
much.
And
sharing.
Shalini and Rupa, with your permission, I would like to read a short poem written by Shanta Sinha, Shalini's mother, and it's
Sure,
called
please do. Please do.
मैं हूं नहीं के बावजूद
Mm.
रात की घाटी में असंख्य दिए जल गए नींद के मेरे भटके हुए विश्वासों को के चरण थमे जो मेरे कुंठाओं के कफन में लिपट लिपट कर बहुत दिन हुए मुर्दा हो गए. And she has translated it into English. I am, despite not being, innumerable lamps of slumber light, the night's labyrinthian alleys, my wavering faith pauses, shrouds of frustrations smothered in layers, long dead. So you can see how beautiful.
Her
Uh,
Hindi is so beautiful. It's
I'm
perfect,
sorry,
actually.
Shalini, you should have read it because my Hindi isn't that good. But I really wanted
It was
to.
I
beautiful
wanted to,
listening to the
Solo.
poem, and I love
thank
the
you so
fact
much.
that you read the translation also. So,
Thank you.
Shalini and Rupali, thank you so much for
Thank
this
you.
wonderful treat.
Thank you so very much. And thank you, Rupali.
Thank you, Shalini, Rupali. And now I'd like to invite Manna Bahadur, an award-winning popular face on Doordarshan in the late 70s and 80s. Manna Bahadur is now an established author of best-selling books like The Dance of Death, what a title, The Curse of Nalanda, a much appreciated memoir called Doordarshan Days. She lost her voice as she reached the pinnacle of her career reading news during the late 80s, interviewing the heartthrob celebrities of that era like Krishna of Mahabharat, Nitish Bhardwaj. He was so handsome and so popular those days. Her Hindi novels, Nilanjana and Abhishakt Nalanda and Shero Shairi, poems, books like Aks Mere Jazbaat Ke and Dhoop Chhao are much appreciated. She has sold many canvases in her solo painting exhibitions. She has written some TV serial scripts too. We do understand Manna has certain constraints and concerns with her voice, but Manna, we would love to welcome you here and tell us what you wrote about. Manna? Manna, can you unmute yourself? I think, Manna, you need to unmute. I see you, but you are muted. You're still mute, Manna. Can you unmute yourself, please? No, we don't hear you.
Hello.
Now we hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Rupa. In fact, is it the first time I've come to a program like this? So my feet are ice cold, my hands are trembling, my heart is thumping, and my mind has gone blank. But still, I'll try to say something.
But you
Can you
came here
understand
today.
me? Can you understand what I'm saying? Can you follow me? Are you able to hear me?
Rupali, do you want to tell us about Manna's story? And then next I will invite Aarti because she will need to be leaving after this. So do you want to tell us about Manna's story? Manna, we want to send you a warm hug from all of us, which warms your cold, frozen feet and hands right now.
Thank you so much.
And
Thanks
thank
a
you for
lot.
coming in today. It means so much to us that you made time to be with us and the first of it, and I'm sure not the last. We cannot
There's
wait
so
to have
much
you
I
again.
want to tell, but only if you are able to follow me.
Yes, we can.
We do.
You
Yes,
do?
yes, yes.
Okay. So a story that I've written for the book. Firstly, I asked what exactly the book is about. When I heard it's 70 carrots, I was wondering if it's a carrot that we eat. Yeah,
Carrot as we eat and not the carrots as in gold, a good one.
right, right. I was wondering what am I supposed to write? I asked Shalini, is it about women empowerment, women issues? She said, oh, you write about yourself. I said, I've just written about myself in two darshan days. So I won't like to repeat that. So I sat down on my table, and normally what I write, I never plan it. No, not a first story baseline is there. Otherwise, I sit blank and it keeps coming, and I keep, tapping on the keyboard. So for this, I went back to my childhood. And I was 7 years old, 10 years old or so. 4 lines in Hindi, if you allow me, I'll say it. Okay. जिंदगी की भीड़ में जिंदगी की भीड़ में जो खो गया वो अपना कल
जिंदगी की भीड़ में जो गुम
खो
गया,
गया
खो
खो
गया
गया
अपना कल,
वो अपना कल आज भी बचपन में जी भर खिलखिलाना याद है.
वाह,
Wonderful.
बहुत सुंदर, बहुत सुंदर, बहुत खूबसूरत.
So I started with my childhood. I
Mhm.
was 7, 8 years old or 10
Mhm.
years old.
Mhm.
And at night, 11 o'clock at night, it was all dark. The streets in Patna had no lights. And my family was attending a wedding. I was very sleepy. So I told my mother I'm going home, which was about half a kilometer from the place. And can you imagine? I walked alone, an
Wow.
11 years old girl walking alone to her home at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I wasn't scared, nor was my mother. Those were the times. No, you were so safe, a girl could walk alone.
You're right.
So from there, I have taken up to how I came to Delhi and all that happened after that. I joined Urdarshan, lost my voice. I realized what it is to be handicapped. You know, I could feel what they must be feeling. I was lucky that I had a very supportive family. My children, my husband, they were always there to support me. But there's so many who have lost their limbs or eyes or something, how they manage. I met a girl, she came to my village home. She was blind and she sang. She sang so beautifully. She asked me to take her to Urdarshan. I said, but you'll have to come to Delhi. She said, okay, I'll come. She came all alone. She reached my door. I said, how did you come? She says, I asked her, did you pay to the bus conductor? She said, yes. I said, how did you pay? Did you know which note is what is like 5 rupees and 10 rupees? Could you make a difference? She said, yes. You give me notes, I'll tell you. So I realized how strong a handicapped person becomes. So being handicapped is not it doesn't take life away from you. And then I wrote this, you must hear. जो बोले ना खामोश रहे, जो बोले ना खामोश रहे, उसके मन में भी बातें हैं, जो देख न पाए आंखों से, उन पलकों में भी सपने हैं,
बहुत
जिनकी
खूब।
राहों में कांटे हो, वे भी मंजिल को तकते हैं, जिनकी आंखों में दम न हो, उड़ने की हसरत रखते हैं.
बहुत
So,
खूबसूरत।
thank you. So one does become very strong if you know you have some handicap, and we shouldn't really pity them. Help them always. That's how
What
it
a
is.
fantastic message, and you are leading by example, and you are inspirational, Manna. And I'm meeting you, and I am proud to have met you today. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for
much.
sharing your inspirational story. Rupali, do
Thank
you
you.
want to add anything?
Yes, I want to share something here. Firstly, thank you so much, Mana, because your story is very interesting and you were quite
Thank
a
you.
tomboy. And the fact that, your childhood, you're walking at 7 years of age in the dark, you can walk through anything. I mean, you
Yeah.
began your life with so much of courage, little child with so much of courage, and you're living it with that courage. You don't have a handicap, you have a medical problem, you know and or many of us have medical problems. You're hearing impaired a bit. Our eyesight is poor, so you strained your voice a lot because you were on the radio and television, and so on and so forth. But thank you so much for being here. And the other thing that I wanted to share was that this book has also been a book of sisterhood, because I've never
Yeah.
met Mana before. I didn't know about her. Shalini put me in touch with her. And we have Meher here. Meher Preston, you put me in touch with Dolly Thakur, with Mithi Alur. And so, there's been this, and then Pragya Bajpayee, she, interviewed Dolly Thakur. So there was this huge sisterhood where everybody was trying
Right.
to, get somebody they knew their stories and narratives. And Manoj did greatly today. You've spoken very well. And I hope,
There's one
and I
thing
do
more I
believe,
want to say.
I do believe that today your being here would have brought back your whatever little confidence that you may have lost.
Yeah, of course. The name of my story is Life is Beautiful.
Yes,
Just like in the film Three Idiots, Abir Khan keeps saying, all is well, all is well.
yes,
I keep saying, life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Make it beautiful.
yes.
Indeed, life is beautiful.
I think
Thank
Manna
you
is
so much.
such a beautiful person, such a beautiful soul. And I remember she used to be, she still is so beautiful. She used to be stunning. We would all wait for her to come to Doordarshan. We were all great fans of hers. And
Thank you.
more than anything, you are such an inspiration. And though, I mean, your voice, I think your voice speaks so much. What you write speaks volumes. I think every expression of yours, I would say, speaks. And of course, your silence speaks so much more. And
Thank you so
I
much,
Thank
feel
you
Auntie.
so
blessed,
much.
Manna, that you are here today. And I'm sharing this place with you.
So do
Thank you
I.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Manna,
you.
once again. And we are thrilled you could join us today and talk about yourself. Thank you, Manna.
Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity.
It's a privilege and an honor. I invite Aarti Kumar, who's been waiting patiently. Aarti, thank you. We do know you have to go, and most welcome. Aarti, you have studied and worked in the UK for 54 years while maintaining close links with India. You worked with Air India as cabin crew and then in various part-time jobs while raising 3 lively sons. But your teaching experience and qualifications eventually led to a highly successful career in higher education. Your innovative approaches in enabling students to develop Skills and Attributes Holistically are authored as the Soaring to Success Pedagogy in several influential publications. You have won a National Teaching Fellowship, an MBE, a Queen's Honor for Services to Higher Education, and AGCAS Lifetime Achievement Award and Honorary Fellowship at 2 UK universities. Aarti, most welcome, and over to you. Tell us, what did you write about and why this particular writing?
Thank you, Rupa. And can you hear me better? I tried to adjust
Yes.
the volume.
Absolutely,
Okay.
we can hear you.
Oh, lovely. And I just want to say hello to everyone. And, you know, just how much everything resonates with me. So many things that you've said are really what I would have said or could have said. So it's very good to meet in this virtual space, although I only know Roopali here now. I knew Aruna and she has left. We were college classmates. So what I wrote about actually was, well, first of all, I've got to say that Rupali was very persistent and very persuasive.
Don't we all know how persistent she can be? Everyone here in the group can vouch for it. That's why
Yes,
she is the
absolutely.
Dhakka queen, as she said.
Yeah. And initially I really resisted because I thought I had already written quite a lot about life, and I was writing at the time also for other publications. So I had written something which was really, and I said to Rupali, well, I've already written something about my life, and it's published in this book. I don't know if you could see it. It's Bangalore, Britain and Beyond.
Now we see it.
Connecting Past and Present. So this was something I wrote as a tribute to my parents, especially my father. He's on the cover of this book. And I mean, when I show it here, it's looking like a blur. I don't know if you can actually see the cover. But it's got my father on the cover, and he's looking this way to the past. And I'm sort of mirroring him and looking forward to the future, the present and the future. So it's called Bangalore, Britain and Beyond, Connecting Past and Present. And I do feel that whenever you write something, then you're really reflecting about things about yourself. And it brings a lot of self-awareness into it. So I called this piece in 70 Carats, this life soaring in synchronicity with an unfolding destiny. And when I look back, I really think I fell into things very much by accident, and I lived my destiny, although I really wasn't at all ambitious in actually doing anything very much. I basically wanted to just have children, never mind getting married, but I was sure that in this life I wanted to have children. And I fell into, well, getting married. Actually, you have to get married before you have children. And when I met my husband, that was in the UK, I was on a posting with Air India. So I was on posting in London. And I met him and really had a very strong sense of destiny. I felt that if he asked me to marry him, it's going to be very difficult because we were really incompatible, but I just can't say no. I had this sense of connection from a past life almost. But so things were very up and down in my life. And, you know, like somebody else said, there were lots of failures. And those failures actually were important because they were really points of influence in my life, which made me develop. So self-development was very much something that came from learning from challenges and failures. When I came here to England, my degree from Mount Carmel College was not recognized. So I went back and I did a degree back here in University of Hertfordshire when my children were, so my youngest son started primary education when I started higher education. And I pretty much sort of learned and grew up with them and from them I learned, and learned from lots of experiences, not just from the degree. But the degree I did here was very different from Mount Carmel College. And it was not really just about conveying information, knowledge, but it was also about your response to that. And, what do you think? And obviously, what you think and feel has got to be referenced, and you've got to actually make it academic. Initially, I was flapping around and saying, I think this and I feel that, and getting really bad marks in the first semester. But when I cottoned on to what needed to be done in my essays, I ended up with a first-class honors degree, but I had no idea in the transition from education to work how to actually go about articulating my skills. I didn't recognize them. I didn't know where in the labor market I would actually fit in. And it was tough. So I fell into part-time jobs. And also at the same time, my family were growing up and I wanted to prioritize them. So I did not want to prioritize a career. And I was on my own in the UK. I have no immediate birth family to fall back on. But when I was writing, I actually did realize that so much of my approach actually comes from my extended family, when I was growing up. I've got something here.
I think there's a call. Roopali, you may need to disconnect that call. It's gone into the group.
Okay.
Kumar, can you please connect Nina? Nina's trying to rejoin us. Kumar, if you can hear me, please connect her. And sorry, Aarti, please continue.
Okay, no problem at all. Yes, so this other book which I wrote was as a result of being lost in the transition. And I thought this is a gap. It's still a gap in education. You don't make the bridges between your education and employment. So you just have no idea what employability skills actually are. And so I developed an approach over time. It evolved over time, working with staff, students, and employers. And it's called Personal, Social, Academic, and Career Development in Higher Education. And this thing has become very, very, there was another call.
I think it has been now disconnected. Roopali may have misdialed the group instead of dialing one person.
Yeah. So I called it Soaring to Success. And the SOAR is the framework.
Yes.
Which is about the inner world of self, reflecting on their strengths and identifying and critically appreciating what are your strengths or unique gifts which you have to serve the world. It's going to be about serving, contributing to life and the world as we know it. So it's a sort of real world vision as well in there. And the opportunities which attract you and which fit with your strengths and your development needs. And so that has really gone viral. And that's the reason why, surprisingly, I actually won all these awards. Because it's
How
still very
beautiful
much...
is that? That's so lovely. So, question for you here, Aarti. You were part of Air India cabin crew. You were in UK. You are in UK, and then you also got into education and actually did so much there and won multiple awards. If you were not doing all this, what would Aarti be doing? What else would Aarti have done or would like to do? Any unfulfilled dreams?
Yeah, I was always, when I was a careers advisor, a career educationalist and a careers advisor, because that was one of the roles which got me into education. Mm-hmm. Whenever I visited a university or an employer where there was creative stuff that was going on, I then actually very much thought I missed my vocation because art and crafts is what I would really like to be doing. So
And
I
you, what is the next step? What is the next thing you want to do, Aarti? What is it you want to write about, or what is it you want to share with the rest of the world?
every time I write and finish something for publication, I say, well, never again, because I do find it hard. I find writing quite hard. And at the moment, there is a book which I have with a UK publisher, and this is a textbook on discovering India. Now, I'm finding it very challenging because, you know, India is diverse, complex, evolving.
So
and
true.
you cover the whole thing in quite a broad sweep, the geography, history, economics, politics. So I am actually writing it. I'm very pleased to be able to do it because it's a textbook. And I want students from anywhere all over the world, the Indian diaspora, to know their heritage. And I'm trying my very best to get it done by the deadline, which is coming up. It's I set a deadline for the end of May. So I'm having to do that, but I love the art and craft work. So I do a lot of things like making cards and trying different crafts and so on.
So next time we meet, we hope your book is ready and you will hold that up the next time we meet, and we will see some of your arts and craft creations as well.
I really hope to be able to meet in person because that's what I love.
That would be awesome.
Space.
That would be awesome. And Aarti, thank you so much for your time and your sharing today.
And I want to share here that Aarti, you know, when we were in college, she was the most beautiful girl in the college. And, we
and she still is.
Yes, she is. But, you know, I mean, she had other dreams and not, you know, be a member of the British Empire. And you were so proud of her. And then by the time she wrote her story, she has been conferred an honorary doctorate by her university, which is such a huge achievement. Because, you know, the 70 Carats and More is not just about what we did when we were young, but what we continue to do, even as we're growing older and learning more and more and giving more of ourselves. So to get a doctorate, congratulations.
Congratulations indeed. And what a glitterati today here, and everyone blinding, sparkling, beautiful, and 70 carats and more. And today, unfortunately, we have lost, I think, from the connections from our group today here, who were there linked with us, but now not here. I don't see Meher Pestonji, I don't see Nina Gill, who are part of the contributing authors. So we hope, Roopali, the next session we do, we can bring in Meher Pestonji and we can bring in Nina Gill along with the others.
No, how come they have vanished?
I don't know. And Nina Gill messaged that she wants to rejoin, but then she's unable to. I was trying to call and message Kumar, but he may have gone to sleep. I don't see him. No, he says he sent it again. I don't know. He's again resent the message. Kumar, can you come on if you're there? I don't see Kumar either. Kumar, are you there? So I don't see Meher or someone has joined. Let's see. Prasanna, you are there. So Nina is trying to rejoin. Nina is unable to join. Can you help her? No.
I tried to, ma'am, but then she is using another, browser. Maybe that's not cooperating.
What about Meher? What about Meher Pestonji?
Yeah, she's not here. She must have dropped off. So either we can try and...
I mean, they were the two very, very brilliant presentations they would have made. Meher is a renowned activist, journalist, author, poet. I recently had the privilege of meeting her when I'd gone to Mumbai, and it would have been so wonderful to hear her. I don't know where she's vanished. And Nina, whom I know personally, when, you know, she's a cancer survivor, and her story is extremely, you know, very, very inspiring. And I would like to, just since she's not here, but these are the last lines from her story, which says the spiritual way of life and happy relationship within one's family. This is her message. And a good circle of friends make for support in joys and sorrows. Both my husband and I enjoyed this. Miracles happen to only those who recognize miracles are happening all around us. And she concludes with the lines from Guru Gobind Singh, that our 10th Guru. I don't know if my pronunciation is good here, but I'll read it out. And it's my favorite line. And it's also the song from the regiment of the Sikhs. It's Deha Shiva Var Mohe He Shiva Karma Nate Karu Na Deru Na Daro also Jab Jai Laro Nikshay Kar Apani Jeet Karo. It says, "O Akal, give me this boon. May I never ever shirk from doing good deeds.
Nina is here. Nina is here.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. Nina, welcome. What a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Let me finish reading this.
Yes.
This is Guru Gobind Singh. Oh,
Yes.
Akal, give me this boon. May I never ever shirk from doing good deeds, that I shall not fear when I go into combat, and with determination I will be victorious. And this is Nina. These
Thank
lines
you.
are Nina's.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad
Thank you,
you're back.
Rupali. You are the one. You are the one who encouraged me to write, isn't
Oh.
it? I was telling you I'm not even 70. Please, so you said no. I want your name to come in your book. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
So a little introduction here. Let me talk about Nina. Nina Gill is a postgraduate with a diploma in interior design and decor. She is a gourmet chef and committed homemaker. A cancer survivor, Nina has written about her struggle and recuperation extensively in order to motivate others in the same position. Her memoir, In 70 Carats, details her journey and also tells us of the birth of her daughter, Nikita, at past 40. So over to you. Want to hear what you have to say about what you wrote, why you wrote, how you wrote.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Nina Gill. I wrote the first article 3 years back. That was on my daughter, and she's the one who had put me into writing. And after that, I had cancer also twice. I'm cancer survivor twice. So she's the one. And the first article which I wrote, that was the name, The Miracle. And then that article came into Cancer Survivor magazine. Plus, you know, there's a cookery book she writes, Neeta Mehta. She also has had given that article in her magazine. And the third time I've written, that was the Roopali, who encouraged me like anything, Nina, you should write, you must write. And because all of you, you are such a big authors, writer, publisher. I'm just a homemaker, so I'm nothing in front of you, but still I try to write.
And you wrote beautifully, Nina. And you
Thank
are
you.
not just a homemaker, you are so much more and beyond. You are a certified legit author who contributed to 70 Carats.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And you know, basically, this is on my daughter only because when I gave her birth, I was 42 years old. And my son and my daughter, they have got 19 years age difference. Now, my daughter is now a lawyer. She's like working under a very renowned advocate. So that's why, you know, I started writing.
One inspires the other. Your daughter inspired you to write.
Inspired in the sense of like she never told me to write, she never asked me to write. On my own, you know, I started writing. I don't know what happened, but I just thought, let me write. Let me write the article on her. So I wrote.
What about you has changed because of the struggles you went through with the dreaded sea experience? How do you look at life now? What is different about you now?
Nothing. I'm a very, very positive person. And I must tell you, then when I was going through my chemos and my radiations and all, my oncologist used to come and tell me, "You are such a positive person. Can you do counseling for some other patient?" So he used to send me other patient, "Ke please, Mrs. Gill, please, Mrs. Gill, just tell them, just explain them. You have to take it." Like I took it as a challenge. And
Yeah.
I same thing I told other patient also, that you have to take it this cancer as a challenge only. So I did that. And
And you
I
are in remission.
sorry.
You are in remission now. You are fine
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So I'm fine. Like 2014 to 16, I was going through a very bad time. All my chemos, my radiation, everything. But now is going to be complete, like completed 10 years now. So you can say I'm a cancer free.
Survivor.
Otherwise,
Yes.
yeah. And otherwise, like I don't know, my interview, my article and all, they came in the newspaper also. I was on TV also on, I don't know which channel. And then when I was going through my radiations a lot, I'd lost my hair, my eyebrows, my eyelashes, everything. But I used to go out. I had bought matching scarf with my suits and all. I was, going with my scarves. People used to stare me, but I never used to bother. I was going for lunches, for movies, for everything. I was taking my daughter out, and like she was in that time 10th to 12th class, like 10th, 11th, 12th, when I was going through cancer. So I was just, I think I had taken her for the counseling also. And still, I remember her counselor said, "Ke hats of you, Mrs. Gill, like, and you are going through such a tough time. Still, you came to meet me, and I think I must have climbed 50 stairs to meet that counselor." So, I had all the courage and never lost any hope. I had all the faith in God. Okay, I will be fine. I will be fine.
What gives you this kind of courage?
No one. Like who acha, that I don't know. Maybe you can say I am a very positive person. I never think negative, even about my children also. When they say ye nahi ho raha, wo nahi ho raha, so I always tell them that believe in your karmas, believe in yourself, have faith in God. So I don't know. I keep telling my children also, and twice I gave speech here also in Mount View once, and then in Hayat Regency, and people really liked my speech and everything. They were very happy. And, that was the time when they took my interview and everything.
Wonderful. So your courage and your faith are two takeaways
Yeah,
from your life story.
yeah. So I never lost any hope, because I used to just think, no, I will be fine. I will be fine. And I used to write affirmations also, that like I had attended workshop when I was going through cancer. I still remember there were 50 patients like who were going through cancer. So we used to have like you can say lecturer or whoever, so, or you can say counselor. So she asked me, okay, how do you spend your time, what do you do, and who are the people who go out and all. And you won't believe, among 50 people I was the only person who raised my hand. And they couldn't believe. They said, what do you do? I said, I go and meet my friends, I go out, eat my lunches, go take my daughter out, I go for movies. Because people, when I was going through cancer, they used to just think it theek hai, ab hum log bachenge nahi, and because we are cancer, we are going through cancer and all. So like that was the way I think I could survive myself.
Kudos to your positivity and the way you have led your life. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
being a part of 70
Thank you
Carats.
so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks to everyone. And I hope to see you again, all of you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I would
And
like to
Rupali?
I would like to add my little bit here,
Sorry?
because I have known, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've known Nina for a long time, because her husband was a very dear friend of mine. my spouse. And so when I met Nina, I really, I mean, in a sense, we just took to each other. And we would, I would teach in the university, and then I would, on the way, come to her house, and then we'd run off and see movies at the Odeon and the Rivoli and
And
places.
Delhi Heart also.
Yes, and we roam around there. And she's always shopping. One of the things, that Nina especially is that she's always cooking these gourmet dishes, and she's always shopping. And she's so, as she says, she's always positive in the sense that she's fearless. And I think I would really like to say this and go on record that this kind of courage I have seen among women from Sikh families. There is something about, Guru Nanak's teachings that have made the women, very strong. And they're as much as warriors as their men are. And this is something I've noticed in many women from her community. And she stands tall. She really stands tall in the way she has. I feel very sorry because, we often when we don't hear from a friend, we get annoyed. So I hadn't heard from her. So I sent her a message and I said, you don't care, you just keep doing your own stuff. And then her daughter-in-law called me up and said, she's down with cancer. And so I think that we should learn not to, if we haven't heard from a friend, we must call up and be kind and not keep blaming that you haven't called me, you haven't spoken to me. And that's a lesson I learned, Nina. And I thank you for the love and the affection and the friendship you have given me.
Thank you so much, Roopali. Thank you so much for all the appreciation. And in future also, I'm looking forward to write something else. Whenever you want, whenever you think I can write something, you can always ask me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Roopali.
much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thank you, Nina.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So today, Pushpa, the co-editor with Roopali and Meher Pestonji, who were here, seem to have disconnected, whether it's because they lost connection or whatever reason. We miss you, Meher. We miss you, Pushpa. We hope to have you next time with us. And we thank everyone in this group who joined in today and those who are listening in, who will be listening in later. Thank you, Kumar, for all your support. Roopali, thank you for being the queen of Dhakka and bringing everybody into the book.
And thank you, Rupa, for making everybody visible. They have stepped out of the book and become so visible.
And they've come alive. And before I hand over to you, Roopali, I just want to share a few words by Langston Hughes, the Dream Keeper. Bring me all of your dreams, you dreamers. Bring me all your heart melodies, that I may wrap them in a blue cloud cloth, away from the too rough fingers of the world. So, Roopali, congratulations, and Pushpa for bringing in so many beautiful stories and wrapping them in the cloud cloth and delivering 70 carats for the rest of the world.
Thank you so much. These are the diamonds, the 70 carats, the diamonds.
The gems.
The gems. I'm so sorry that Meher is missing. I mean, she was, when my daughter was helping me to, sort of correct all the spelling mistakes and other things, she was very impressed by Meher Pestonji's story. So I hope she comes back in the next episode and we should start with her. I think it got a bit late.
So for now, I think we got to say good night. It's quite late for most of us. And for me, it's my lunchtime. So thank you so much, Kumar, for coordinating and making sure everything goes right each time, every episode.
Thank you, Prasanna.
Thank you, Roopali. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shalini and Manna and Nina.
Shalini, Manna, Nina, and Roopali, Kumar. Thank you.
And Prasanna, good to see you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And thank you so much for all your beautiful words and observations, Rupa.
Thank you.
Bye.